So this is a series for shoulder flexion or increasing overhead shoulder range of motion. This is shoulder flexion. And what we're going to start with is some release work, releasing the muscles that are responsible for uh, downward rotation of the scapula, moving the arm down like this that we're doing all the time for our levering strength to lift our butts over our heads. So these muscles are the pec minor, just on the inside of the shoulder here, that we can contact with a peanut or a ball, just placing it against the wall here and leaning in, finding some movement. The pec minor attaches kind of to the front of the shoulder here, or thereabouts, and a little bit up here as well, under the collarbone, I think. But it's kind of working diagonally down here onto the top of the rib cage. So that's the area we're looking to get into for the pec minor. And I would say be here for a minute or so. If you had some space to do so, you could also find some arm movement. This is not a great surface for it, but yeah, there we go, that's all right. And find some kind of active release here, opening and closing. Some of the other muscles that we're looking to contact are the rhomboids, which are the muscles that connect the back of the shoulder blades here, this kind of interior spine, towards the spine. So here, I'm just looking to put the lacrosse ball, or sorry, the peanut. It'd be funny if they played lacrosse with this. That'd be a bit wobbly. On either side of the spine, here in between the shoulder blades, and we can just sit kind of resting against the wall, working up and down here again. I can find some movement of the scapula retracting, firing those rhomboids and reaching forward and working up and down here on either side of the spine. Again, maybe another minute depending on how it's feeling. Another muscle that we're looking to contact is the levator scapula, which is the muscle that attaches this kind of medial, like inner and top angle of the scapula. This corner here, at the top of that, there's that kind of ropey, kind of massaging that all the time, a lot of areolar sac, because it gets pretty inflamed. And it attaches up into the cervical vertebra. So for that, I'm looking to just place the ball there, and again, leaning back against the wall. And you can almost kind of sit on that, or you can have the ball, if this is the top border of the scapula, the ball's just running into the soft tissue above the border of the scapula, there, like that. And the last muscles that are really nice to release are kind of the teres major muscle, which lives kind of just at the top of the scapula here, as the scapula, or the lats, as you kind of think about them. The lats aren't up here, but they attach to the lower angle of the scapula down here, but all the way up here, kind of in this little pocket where the shoulder meets the torso on the back side. In there can be a lot of great material to release. And for that, I'm going to place the lacrosse ball. God, why do I keep calling it a lacrosse ball? The peanut here, just in that pocket with my arm resting overhead. And I'm just going to roll around on the outside of that scapula, looking for anything that feels sensitive. I'm pressing a lot into my outside foot right now to give weight into the peanut. And whether you're on the teres major specifically, or whether you're on some of the other muscles like the teres minor or the infraspinatus, or coming into the serratus anterior, it doesn't matter, it's all connected. And if it's sensitive and tight, it deserves a little bit of time and attention with old lacrosse over here. Okay. So releasing all of those muscles around the shoulder and that are supporting the sling, the kind of supportive sling of the scapula as well, before we do exercises to increase shoulder range of motion. First, releasing all of these muscles. The next thing we're going to do is work on eccentrically loading these down rotators of the scapula. This is not ideal. Ideally, I'd want a longer foam roller, so that my pelvis and the entirety of my spine, including my head, is resting here. It's not really possible. Let's see what this feels like. I'm gonna need to drop my pelvis off here. Okay, it's all right. So again, ideally you just have a longer foam roller or a bolster or something like that. You could also do this on the floor as well, but this just allows for a bit more range of motion. So to begin with, I've got two small, quite light weights here. I'm just winging my elbows out to the side slightly, trying to create a lot of space in between my sternum and my shoulder. So trying to think about making those collarbones nice and long. And I'm lowering down slowly. Right now I'm eccentrically loading the pecs and those kind of inner rotators. And then coming back up as I do so, trying to keep the collarbones nice and long. By doing these eccentric contractions, we're working to down-regulate, to kind of switch them off, to allow them to relax. As aerialists, we have all of this kind of repetitive stress, repetitive concentric contraction of these down rotators. It's kind of levering muscles of the shoulder. Don't let your ribs flare at the bottom. And we're doing this slowly, if anything more slowly, on the down action, the eccentric load. This is the concentric load. But what we're here for is the eccentric load. So maybe working to do that over about 5 to 7 seconds, and then coming back up. Next, we're gonna keep this frame of the arms. Feels a little bit like ballet, port de bras, if you've done ballet. First position. And then we're going to lift. Or if I was vertical, it would be lifting. But right now it's dropping. So I'm eccentrically loading these shoulder levering muscles. Reaching through my scapula, kind of protracting through the scapula like I'm doing a push-up before I go. And then really feeling into my scapula, upwardly rotating, wrapping around my rib cage. Again, lowering down slowly, and then coming back. Keeping the ribs knit together, not letting them flare out. And just going to a place that feels comfortable. Don't work into pain. Let's do 2 more on each side here. Feeling a nice stretch at the bottom. Nice. Okay. Now we're going to work the external rotators of the humerus in a kind of overhead range of motion. So here I'm opening the angle of the shoulder and just keeping the elbow down, keeping the neck relaxed, and lifting this small weight. And we'll do the other side. Notice any differences on either side. This side feels much easier for me to work through a bigger range. But I've got some old injuries in my right side. And after that, we'll come into a child's pose with the weights again. Wrapping the scapulars around the rib cage, turning the elbow pits in towards one another, and lifting here. 4, 5, 6. Keeping the ribs knit together, trying to lift them off the thighs. Let's do another set on each side. Thumb should be pointing up towards the ceiling. On the other side. Next we're gonna take a moose stretch. Gonna go into moose stretch. This angle's quite, there's not a lot of width here, but I think I can just fit. So with the palms facing, or we can even have the thumbs pointing up, out away from the wall, which will encourage that external rotation. Keeping the elbows nice and straight and sinking the sternum down to the wall. If you want to feel that a little more intensely, you can either move your feet closer to the wall, or you can slide your hands down the wall. Try not to go too deep into your low back, so keep the pelvis tucked slightly. We're looking to feel this more in the shoulders and the upper back. And when you're there and comfortable, we can take some small pulses. Again, protecting the low back. And then grabbing a yoga block, we're going to find a similar stretch, but on the knees with a chair. Elbows resting, arms are parallel, finding that stretch again. Here, hollowing more in the ribs, trying to keep a straight line, not arching in the upper back. And from here, bending through the elbows and straightening. And then holding this position and taking small pulses into the shoulders, not into the back. And for this final movement, you'll need you can use a TheraBand or you can use a static line. We're going to be working through this range of motion, lifting. As we're going overhead, I'm thinking about lifting through my shoulders as high as I can and trying to keep my arms parallel with one another, not letting them wing out. Going as far back as I can without breaking in the ribs, and then internally rotating and coming back down. As I come back up, I'm trying to find that inner line as early as I can, not coming back here, but coming back here, not with my ribs flared. Let's do some together. I'm grabbing kind of wide here because you'll need it in a second. Thumbs pointing up. Bring it in and hollow the ribs at the same time. Should feel like hard work. Lifting up high to the sky, reaching as far back as you can without flaring the ribs, and then coming back. As you come back, lifting and hollowing, bringing the arms parallel as far back as you can without flaring. It's hard. It is really hard. If it's not feeling hard, you're not working actively enough to reach high and keep the arms narrow. Let's do two more.